Welcome to day 113. We have 1 Samuel chapter 27, Psalms 141, 1 Chronicles 9, and Matthew 10. David decides to move to the Philistines' land in order to get Saul to stop chasing him. He's got to settle down. He's exhausted, and so are his people. So he's very humble to the Philistine leader. He's not rocking any boats there. He knows the Philistines are very strong. He does still continue fighting, but he tends to obliterate entire villages so no one knows that it's David going through there and that David was the aggressor. So there are some questionable choices that he's making, but he is supporting himself, his family, and his followers, and there's a little bit of breathing room for everyone for a period of time here. Psalm 141 is a beautiful psalm of requesting God to help make the psalmist holy, protect the psalmist, and also pledging the psalmist's loyalty to God. It's one of those psalms that in some ways seems kind of old and disconnected to us because it's talking about stuff that isn't part of our regular lives. But we can also go through this psalm and look at it and rewrite it with some information from our life and from our world today, which might make it a more powerful prayer for you to use in your private devotional time. One of the big things as you go through Psalm 141 is to consider that we have had in the United States peaceful borders for a long time, and it's hard to imagine this kind of a request for protection. But there are still a lot of places in the world that have border wars, and one way that we can show our humility is to share our abundance and our security with others. And this is definitely something that is a big debate in our country right now. But I think as Christians, as followers of Jesus, there's definitely a call for us to use whatever it is we have to be able to make the lives of people who are struggling easier. 1 Chronicles 9 starts a list of people who made it back from the exile. So this is, of course, one of the great hinge points of Jewish history when the Babylonians destroy the temple and destroy Jerusalem and send people into exile. Eventually, the Babylonians are taken over by the Persians, and eventually the Persians start to let some of the Jewish people return to Jerusalem and rebuild Jerusalem and the temple. And so we've got a list of some of the people who are coming back. It includes some of the security guards who had initially been selected by Saul and David. They are coming back and resuming their work protecting the Levites and the religious spaces. The Levites have returned. They're musicians, they're priests, and they are resuming their duties. Matthew 10 begins with the answer to a prayer from the last reading. Jesus has some laborers now that he's going to send out to start harvesting the fields. In other words, there are lost and lonely people who need to know the love and grace of Jesus. Jesus identifies 12 of his followers who become known as the disciples, the core group of 12, and sends them out. Now, there's a pretty long list of instructions that Jesus gives them here, and I think there's a lot in this list for us to think about when we think about what Jesus is asking us to do in our world today. First thing, go nearby. Don't be doing cold calling in another country far away. Start with the lost and confused people that you know in your life, that are in your neighborhood, that are in your town and your country. Bring healing to them, touch the untouchables. Now, back then, they're probably talking about the lepers who have a very infectious skin disease. So touching the untouchables was a very literal thing. But in our world today, there's a lot of people that we sometimes set aside as people who make us uncomfortable or untouchable. Maybe it's people who've been released from prison, who have been convicted of crimes. Maybe it's people who have come here from another country. Maybe it's people who have a different culture of intimate relationships, of sexual identity and gender identity. There are many groups of people that sometimes we consider as being different and other, and we don't want to be around them much. And I think Touch the Untouchables calls for us to build a relationship with all the people that come into our lives. We are to travel light. Don't worry about a huge fundraising campaign and having tons of stuff. Travel light. Don't make a scene. Withdraw quietly. If you're not wanted in someone's home or in a community, don't be naive. Don't come to make life. Jesus didn't come to make life cozy for everyone, and that Jesus might even cut family ties for the sake of God's kingdom. Jesus says you've got to put Jesus first. Jesus comes first before your own comfort, before your own families. And always remember that the smallest acts of love and kindness matter. It's not about doing the most big, extravagant acts. And I think this gets to something that a lot of Christians today worry about. Am I good enough? Do I know enough? Do I have enough skills? I don't know the Bible very well. I don't pray very well. I don't have enough resources. His list really knocks all of our excuses away and clears the playing field that all of us can go out and be a member of Jesus' team, of bringing the good news of Jesus, the love and grace of Jesus, the healing touch of Jesus to people that are needing it. So for us today, I think we have the same instructions. Go to people we know. Small actions with love matter. Travel light and focus on Jesus. I just really want to emphasize, I know we're reading through the Bible together here, but there is no Bible test that Jesus sets out here. There is no prayer exam. Be you, be authentic, share your story of how God matters in your life, how God has changed you, and how your life is better because you know the love and grace of Jesus Christ in your life. I think this is a great chapter to remind us that we can all do this work, and Jesus wants us all to do this work. And it is not to be a horrendous burden, but it is something that fits within the lives that we have. Remember, Peter's married, he's got a family. All of these people are living their lives, and they are still doing this work for Jesus. And I think that's a lesson that we can take away for our lives today. What can we do to show the love of Jesus to at least one person in our life today? We'll see you next time.